Different connections were evident in George's next regression. This time, his life was as a southern slave woman in early 18th century. George was married to a particularly a brutal man. The husband in the black woman's life was also George's father in his present life. In the early life, George's husband beats his wife so savagely and that he broke her legs, rendering her paralyzed. In this life, George's father was a source of great strength and support, particularly in George's childhood, which was marked by arthritis in George's knee. But George's father was frightened in authoritarian figure, given to the kind of rages that George would later repeat. And the boy quickly learned that to accomplish things away from his father's influence, he would have to stand up for himself, an obvious correlation to his life as a slave. Independence and strength became the hallmarks of George's pre heart attack life, and he carried them with him, perhaps too single mindedly, even after he got out of the hospital. The lesson George needed to learn in this lifetime was balance. He had to combine authority with the ability to listen to others, to take suggestions as well as give orders. He regressed briefly into another life, of which he saw a glimpses. He was a Stone Age man, clothed in a animal skin, with hairy hands and feet. But he died very young, of starvation. Here was another explanation for his excessive weight in this life. People close to starvation, such as those who died in a Holocaust, often become overweight when reincarnated, needing the weight as a reassurance they would never be hungry again. I put his past life in a chronological order: Stone Age man, Mongol warrior, innkeeper in Middle Ages, slave woman with paralyzed legs, murdered Japanese gay man, and a French man dying for his country. Surely there were many additional lives as well, but he did not get to them in our sessions. Perhaps he never would. His blue spirit told him that we see the past lifetimes that are important to this one. Learning keeps happening on other sides too, George told me. Now, an expert, and I was pleased to his positiveness. You develop skills, you work on your talents, it doesn't stop. There were consistent themes in all the lives he remembered: violence and anger, physical pain, abusiveness, constant threat of death that were paralleled in his present life. When George put the past lives together, it became obvious to him that his present day lifestyle was deadly. He was drinking too much. His blood pressure needed to be controlled. He could have another heart attack. His rages put him in a danger of stroke. All this took nearly 2 years of intense therapy, with periodic sessions thereafter. But as he joined these insights with other therapeutical tools I gave him, such as relaxation series, I had pleasure of watching him begin to shift. He was able to relax more without doing formal meditation. Sometimes I had recommended, but that he would not do. He reported communicating better with the people in his office. He said he was better able to listen and to accept setbacks without going ballistic. Even when he did get angry, the periods were briefer and less violent. He was able to relax from time to time. He would put on one of my CDs in his office during lunch hour and tell his secretary to make sure he wasn't interrupted. He started to play golf and go fishing again and attend Florida Marlins baseball games. Physically, George was getting better too. His blood pressure went down. His heart function improved. He began to exercise, he drank less, and he ate healthier foods, all in concert with his wife. Sometimes I would bring her into our sessions where she verified his progress with a gratitude that was as heartfelt as his. It was the same with their children. He was becoming a father, a friend, a guide, and not a dictator. One change led to another, and soon there was a progression of changes, what we call a synergistic loop. Success followed success. I had glimpses of the other side, he told me. I saw myself in a future life as a beloved teacher to many children. It was very happy life. I was very content. The skills I learned were ones I could bring back to my physical life here. And I saw another world. Just glimpses of it. Crystalline structures and lights and people, you know, like light beams. I was astonished. As I say, this was before I was purposely talking people into the future. His vision, I thought then, might have been a metaphor, a symbol for what his present day soul wished for. Or it might have been nothing more than a dream influenced by our work on his past. Still, perhaps he saw was true. What he saw was true. At the end of our last session, I wrote, he was healed spiritually, heart as well as physical heart. His cardiologist, Barbara Tracy, confirmed the physical part, and I knew George was hopeful now. Life was suddenly important to him. Spirituality became part of his psychological makeup. Family mattered, friends mattered, co workers mattered, pleasures too. He was prepared for the next stage in his evolution. When George's body dies, his soul is ready to return. His soul is ready to return. I am convinced his new life will be higher level. It will almost surely be gentle than the lives he had led. Had he not revisited and understood the lessons of his past life, it would have taken him longer to reach the stage he is in now. He might have had to spend several more lives in an angry, violent state before he learned for himself the truths his regression had shown him. His therapy terminated, and I no longer see him as a patient. Should he care to? I welcome the chances to progress him, not for a theoretical purpose, but for us to see him what his non-violent next lives will be like. George's present life was changed by his renunciations of anger and violence, his predominantal issues. Other patients' present and past lives demonstrates how change is possible in dozen different aspects of life and by extrapolation in hundreds more. It is rare that a person will master more than one lesson in one lifetime. Though residual attention is often paid to others. For the purpose of the book, I have segregated the lessons into different discrete areas. Though they often overlap, and evolution in one can lead to evolution in others. The histories you are about to read are remarkable examples of people evolving towards new lives that take them to higher planes and will eventually lead to the highest plane of all.